Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night's live event. Now this happens weekly on this page, so if you're new here, welcome. If you're not, you're like, this is old news. I know every Tuesday night you're coming on, but either way, welcome. Tonight I'm talking about how to stick to a healthy lifestyle. And yes, I'm talking long term, not a diet, but a whole healthy lifestyle. And we're going to get into kind of what that really means. But let me quickly introduce myself just in case you are new here. Welcome. If you're not, welcome back. But my name is Renee Paulson. I am a recovering food and sugar addict and also a healthy living and nutrition coach. A lot of people have been asking lately kind of what that journey of recovering from food and sugar addiction, or even not knowing that that's a thing. And really, I was consuming over 3 cups of sugar every day, highly addicted to food. And we're not talking about carrots. We're talking about processed foods, junk food, fast food, all of the goody foods. And I was a really big sweets person. Now, along my journey of trying to get healthy, the reason I really did that is because I got hit by a really big truck and I broke my back, my sacrum, and my hip, and my head went through the window and all sorts of shenanigans happened. But with that came pain, and especially if you have high inflammation because you're eating a lot of junk food, processed foods, or sugar or dairy, you'll have high inflammation, which will also contribute to your pain. So I kind of went through a journey to try and get healthy, and really my husband was the catalyst. And once he started talking about getting healthy and changing the way that we eat and not having sweets and like all these things, I became extremely angry, like a hangry little troll. And I was like, something's not right here. And so really kind of started figuring out how to recover and heal my relationship with food, but still have moderation. So I started out with the sugar detox, and kind of built from there, and lost over 100 pounds. And now I help other women do the same thing, continue to recover or just detox from sugar. It doesn't even have to be full-blown food and sugar addiction. There are a couple different kinds of food and sugar addiction. One being very emotional, that emotional trauma, usually trauma-based, things like that, very emotional. And then there's just like the side where that food is yummy and it's highly addictive and it's made to be that way. So really kind of work on both realms of both sides of the realms, I guess you would say, and help women lose weight and keep it off for good. So that's what we're really talking about tonight, is like that healthy lifestyle. What does that mean? Well, what I really teach is moderation, especially if you're trying to lose weight or you have a weight loss or a specific health goal. It doesn't even have to be weight loss. It could be you need to get your blood pressure down or your cholesterol down, or you're pre-diabetic and you definitely don't want to go into full-blown diabetes, type 2 diabetes, obviously. What else? Any of those things. Feel energy, want to get summer body ready, all of those health things that come along with that. So really, when you want to look at a healthy lifestyle, when I talk about that and you have those goals, maybe you do like a treat meal once a week, not a treat day. A treat day will really throw you off the whole week. A lot of people think like, oh, it's just this one day and then your body resets the next day. And that's for sure not the case. It really kind of, you look at the week in a balance, to balance throughout the, obviously throughout the week. So a treat day will really throw you off, really sticking to one treat meal a week. But then once you have hit your goal, kind of what does that look like? What does moderation look like for a person, and how to stick to that healthy lifestyle? Even stick to losing weight. Sometimes people really have trouble, like, how do I even just stick to keeping this goal in mind? And what I love to do is to take sticky notes. I know this sounds really simple. Take a sticky note and put your goal all around, put it on the refrigerator, put it on your phone on a note or something like that, and make sure that your goal is really forefront in your brain. And know why you're doing your goal and continue to remind yourself, right? Like, this is what my goal is. This is what I am wanting to achieve. So it's right front and center instead of like an I don't care. But number one thing that is going to make you successful, even short term or long term, I'm going to go across the board. Number one is going to be an accountability partner. That is going to hardcore be the thing that's going to keep you on track. Now, accountability partner could be a spouse. It could be not really, I guess maybe a child, depending on how old your children are, but not really. I really wouldn't like, my children could never be my accountability partner because they try and get me to go to Starbucks all the time. But it could be maybe your a sibling or a friend or something like that. Now, I have talked about this before, this accountability partner, and this is not your homegirl. This is not like the person that you go brunching with. This is the person that is like up your butt and like, yo, you need to get this stuff done. Or looks at you with a scowl when you eat things, or, things like that. Now, if you don't have a good accountability partner, or sometimes you'll find your spouse, you want your spouse to be your accountability partner, or like one of your really good friends, but both of you have a weight loss goal, or both of you struggle with food or sugar addiction, that's where it can be really tricky because one or both can go off the rails and then pull the other one. So that's really kind of where that can be very tricky. I'm not going to say it cannot be done, but that means one of those people needs to be like the strong-willed one. In my relationship, my accountability partner is my husband. Now, he is like the strong-willed one, especially in the beginning. And then we'll go through like waves and patches where, I'm the strong one or he's the strong one, blah, blah, blah. But definitely in the beginning, he was the catalyst because I want to give him that credit because it was like, I was like, I'll just die early. It'll be fine. I don't care. And he's like, yes, you do care. So accountability partner. If you don't have someone who's a really good accountability partner in your life, that's when it's time to look for an accountability coach. Now, what I'm going to say about accountability coaching is because, yes, I do accountability coaching, but do your research and make sure that you vibe with whoever it is. There's probably 8 bajillion different accountability coaches. Make that sure that that person is good, that they're reputable, that they know what they're talking about, that you vibe with them, make sure that you like watch a bunch of their stuff, call, have a consultation with them where you can ask them a bunch of questions. What are the things that you would want to know? What do they offer? What do you get when you start to work with them? What are they going to teach you long term? Now, this is me as an accountability coach, I do not give meal plans. I am the anti-meal plan type of a coach because I want to teach people to feed themselves. That way you don't need a coach for the rest of your life. You actually learn something and you learn how to feed yourself and you know exactly what you are doing and how to adjust either now or in the future. So accountability partner is key. That will 100%, when you have a good accountability partner, it takes you up to, I believe it's a 70% success rate of reaching your goal. But when you have an accountability coach, you have 95% success rate of reaching your goal. And I think the other 5% is probably those yahoos that don't even know like how to coach people correctly. But sorry, that's just my little soapbox experience. But an accountability coach will take you from here to here very quickly. And yes, you could do those things on your own. Yes, absolutely, you could. But I will tell you, to go from here to here, when I didn't use an accountability coach, it took years. It took years in this. And in those years, it was like, go forward, slide backwards, go forward, slide backwards. It was crazy. So the investing in a coach really is investing in yourself and saying, I believe that my health and my goal is worth this, and I'm going to invest in myself and know that I'm going to reach that goal and beyond. So that is my little soapbox about accountability coaching. If you find other coaches, do your research. Again, always, even on me, I always tell people to do their research. And number one, I always tell people is to do my Sugar Warrior 10 program, which is a 10-day sugar detox program that costs less than it takes to feed a family of 4 McDonald's. It costs $27, and that way you know exactly how I coach before you decide if you would want to continue on further. And that obviously also gets my brain's not working. That obviously gets you in control of your cravings, so that way you can start on the right foot when you start to work together. But accountability partner is absolutely key. The second thing is tracking your food. Now this, they just did well, not just did, but I just read a study, rather Steve read a study in his book Atomic Habits, and then he reread it to me, and then I reread it myself because I like to be read too. My brain doesn't comprehend it. But that they did a study of a controlled group of people who wanted to lose weight, and they split them in two groups, and they had one just try and, watch what they were eating, and then they had another one track their food. And did you know that tracking your food gave you 2 times, I don't know why I said 2, not 20, 2 times the weight loss. And also in longevity, it also helps maintain weight loss and keep it off for good. Now, here's why this is so controversial on tracking your food. And I will be honest with you, and you've probably heard it from me before if you're returning, that I hated this and I didn't want to do it ever. I didn't want to ever do it. And again, in those span of years when I did not invest in an accountability coach or anything like that, I had an accountability partner who was good, but we also didn't track our food in that time. So again, it took a lot longer with a lot more backslides. When you start tracking your food, you really, everything's put in black and white. So if you're like, oh, I think this is good, let's take an egg, for example. When you track an egg, you're like, oh, I think it's a good amount of protein. And then you track it and you're like, wait a second, it's a lot of fat with a little bit of protein. The egg white is all protein, but you're looking at, people are like, oh, I just sprinkled this on for some protein. And I'm like, that, if you put that on an avocado, on a toast with butter, that's carbs with fat and more fat, And the only reason people will argue with you. So instead of arguing with people, I just say, okay, go track it. Go track that food item and see what it looks like. Now, there's lots of different tracking apps. Okay, I know there's My Macros and My Fitness Pal and My blah, 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 and whatever, and Weight Watchers. Don't even get me started on Weight Watchers. I used to love Weight Watchers, and now I know they're owned by Philip Morris and Kraft. So, Shady McGrady. Anyway, when you track your food, you see everything in black and white. The tracking app that I love to use, and I recommend it all my clients use, and I have the pro version, so I get to go in and see what everybody's tracking without even bothering them, but is called Chronometer. I will put a link for Chronometer in the comments. There you go. It's been a long day. Children's stress. Sorry. But I'll put a link for that. And Chronometer is great because instead of just showing you the calories of something, right? Or some apps will show you the calories, but also those macros like the protein, carbs, and fat of food, which is also great to know. But also Chronometer shows you the micronutrients. So it shows you all the vitamins and nutrients. And it's all even the fats are all broken down, and the carbs are all broken down, and everything like that is all broken down in there. So you actually get to see the nutritional value of the food that you're putting in. This is how I was like, oh, now if I know I have an egg, or I do my hard-boiled egg thing with it over toast and the whole shebang, I know what I'm looking at instead of thinking, oh, well, this is good protein for me, and this means I won't be hungry later. Because for breakfast, an egg ain't enough protein. Even 2-3 eggs, that's a lot of fat and not enough protein. So, but without really having the information and without tracking your food, you don't know that information. And what also I find, especially obviously when people use Chronometer, is that across the board, we are pretty much vitamin deficient anyway. If you are not taking a multivitamin, you should do so immediately. Double check where your vitamin comes from, but even if you get something from Centrum from Walmart, that is better than nothing, because across the board, we're all vitamin deficient. It's hard to eat the amount of food that you need to fill up all of your vitamins and nutrients. Trust me, my husband is doing it right now on a plant-based version, and he's eating almost 4,000 calories a day in just plants, and still having trouble, still having to take a multivitamin. So that just shows you, take a multivitamin, please. My mother always told me this, and I never listened to her, and I thought she was just how you do with mothers, and she was right. So take a multivitamin, but tracking your food, super important. And then not doing, I don't track my food 100% of the time. I do about 80%, but now I've been tracking my food for so long that I know kind of where to stay within, even on the days that I don't track, right? And now I'm at a point where if I had a specific health goal or a specific weight loss goal, or soon I'm going to be going into where I'm going to get ready for summer, then I would track every day, and I would make sure, even on my treat meals, I know what's going in, so that it's just knowledge. A lot of people feel like, oh, that's my food and it feels obsessive. It's data. Just look at it as data and nothing else. Whatever you ate, it doesn't make you good or bad, or that you're not as worthy as if you did as a person who didn't eat like that, or a person who eats celery all the time. It's just data. Take that emotion out of it, because sticking that emotion to it is not healing the relationship with food and helping you move forward with the data and looking at what is going in, so you can see what's going to go out, what's going to happen. If you're overeating on things like, fat or carbs or things like that, you're going to have health things that pop up. What goes in is what's going to come out. Always, always, always. So again, that's just data, so that you know what you're looking at. So I have people who are like, I don't know if I want to track my treat meal. And I will tell you, sometimes I do. And sometimes if I'm out with dinner and friends and things like that, I don't. I'll try and track it afterwards and just kind of like see what I put in there. But it's always just, like I said, it's just data. So tracking your food is the number 2, because accountability partner is number 1. Both of those, though, hand in hand, man, you have a winning combo. So those are the top 2 tips. If I could ever tell anybody, if you want to take years off of trying to reach that goal, or even maintain for years after, have those 2 things. Mucho, mucho, mucho important. The third tip, my asthma is acting up. I'm so sorry. I'm not sick. My asthma is acting up, and it's because the air in Colorado here is so cold and dry right now. At least I figured out why. Because it's been acting up for a couple weeks. And, sorry. Even when I talk, it starts to feel very pinched off. All right. Number 3 tip is to find balance and moderation. Well, I'm going to look over here and make sure I don't have any comments, because I couldn't see my comments from before. Okay. Number 3, like I said, find balance and moderation. Once you have hit your health goal, what does balance and moderation, what does that start to look like for you? So example would be, I had a client ask me, that we were talking about the food that they tracked, and they said, well, I have a chicken thigh on there, and I know that the dark meat is higher in fat, but I absolutely hate and cannot eat chicken breasts. Like, I can't. It makes like the thought of it. And now this is a client that I've had for a few months now. So I know that, I know when she's telling me this, I already know how she ate. So it's not like someone who's like, I just can't eat any vegetables. No, that is not that type of a case. But I also told her, well, if you are looking in the long run, then maybe give yourself the chicken thighs maybe once or twice a week, so that you can have that throughout and you don't feel deprived and it's not sickening. And on those other nights, do something else. Do a plant-based recipe. Do something else that you enjoy, instead of feeling like you have to restrict that or you have to give up chicken thighs for forever. Because in the end, that's not realistic. Here's why. Because most people, once they hit their health or weight loss goal, then they think, okay, I can lay off the gas a little bit. So they will go back to the things that they love to eat, like chicken thighs or pizza or things like that. That's why I always tell people having a treat meal is something to look forward to, and it's something to enjoy, and then get right back on the wagon. But that way you don't feel like you're so deprived that by the time maybe you wanted to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds, by the time you hit that, you're not like, oh, I'll take all the things. I'll take all the pizzas and all the cinnamon rolls and all the things and all the chicken thighs. So finding what balance and moderation means for you. Now, by going through and tracking food, it's going to help you figure out what balance and moderation means for you. Because once you hit a point where you're in moderation, it's not like you add a bunch of calories and you're like, yay, this is my moderation. Really, if you are wanting to do it correctly, you need to look at the macronutrients so that it really helps build your body and sustain you for longevity. That way it's not just like, oh, I'm going to try and drop weight really, really quickly and lose this much as I can in such a short amount of time, and then I go back up. And, each time you do that, it damages your body. And I couldn't even tell you how many times I had done that in my life. When you're really looking at, like I said, balance and moderation, it's for that long term, that longevity, feeling amazing in the long term, not having diabetes in the long term, not feeling sick, not trying not to get cancer. I mean, but you get the gist, like trying to not have those health complications in the long run and be able to feel amazing at 70 years old and go stroll on the beach if you go to Hawaii or whatever, whatever you want to do. So finding balance and moderation so that when you hit your health goals, you can continue to live that healthy lifestyle and it doesn't feel like you're depriving yourself, right? And then my number 4 tip would be find joy in movement. What the hell do you mean? I mean, whatever workout or movement, however you're moving your body, find joy in what that is. Enjoy it. Make sure it's something that you like doing. Now, this is also a catch-22 because I'm not saying that you're going to want to work out 100% of the time. But I will tell you that when I started weightlifting, I thought I was going to absolutely hate it. And for a long time I did, because that was my mindset. I used to say I would go into zombie mode in the gym, and I would I'm there to get in, get out, and be done with this. Like, I just want this to be over with, and I want to lose my weight, and I want to get out. But really, that takes part of it out. That takes a huge part of that out of it, which is muscle-mind connection, which also helps like 2 times your results, which is crazy because it's just your mind. And so that's why it's really important to enjoy what you're doing. So with weightlifting, I found that I need really good music. My music on leg day will look different than it does on like a push day where I'm doing upper body. But those types of things, and also knowing what workouts work for me, what I really enjoy doing, and what I absolutely hate and will not do or will avoid because I'll skip them, and just putting those in for myself. This also goes with like if you enjoy walking, or finding a good podcast that you enjoy while you're walking, or listening to a video while you're walking, or things like that. Maybe it's jujitsu, which I also thought I was going to hate. And I absolutely love it because choking people out is fun. And you get to do it legally. And these people are your friends. So it makes it nice. It's not for everybody though. I think everybody's like, oh, it takes it. But I think that women should definitely take it. That's just neither here nor there. I'm going to get off the beach. I could talk about that all night. But just finding joy in the things that you do that are physically active. When I moved to Colorado, I realized that everybody here is active. Like, I shouldn't say everybody, but lots of the people are very active. Like, I thought I was doing good, and I went to the gym, and then I was like, oh, maybe, I'm like, oh, I did a heavy leg day, maybe I won't do jujitsu. And I was talking to one of the ladies, she's like, oh, I ran 5K this morning, and I just came from CrossFit, and now I'm going to do this for 2 hours. And I was like, oh my God. Now, that's extreme, and I'm not telling you to be that extreme, but I am telling you to find something that you enjoy, whether that be jujitsu, hiking, taekwondo, whatever it is. Taekwondo's not really a workout, in my opinion. But, whatever those things are, to enjoy them or to even find joy in them. If you're like, I hate everything, I hate working out, and I don't like any of it, then that means you have to find joy in things like finding a good music playlist that's really going to help you get pumped up. Feeling strong. That's another reason I really liked weightlifting, is because I like to feel strong. It's not like I'm like, ooh, I don't want to sweat. I am not that type of woman. I am that warrior woman that I want to feel strong. And that doesn't mean I'm going to the gym to get buff and like giant muscles. Honey, you got to eat a lot of food to get like that. So I have to tell that to women all the time. It's like, don't think that if you go in the gym and you lift weights, that you're going to be like, I am the Hulk. It definitely doesn't work like that. We definitely don't eat enough food to be hulking it up. So, but like I said, finding joy in the things that you like. That's a dance, exercise, whatever it is. But those 4 are really going to help you with that healthy lifestyle in the long run. Because let's be honest, if you are dreading and you absolutely hate working, whatever workout you have chosen, you are not going to do it. If you absolutely hate whatever diet you have chosen, when you're done, you're going to be like, I'm done with you. That's it. Goodbye. If you have, you don't track your food, you're not going to know what's going in. You could be eating, I'll tell you that I'm the same weight as I was when I lost weight, like, I don't even know, Bella was 2, so like 10 years ago, right? But my body and my face look totally different, not because I've aged 10 years, but look totally different because I didn't know the macros. I didn't know what I was eating. I didn't know what was going in. So tracking your food, and then of course number 1 is going to be that accountability partner. That's going to be that person that's calling you out on your shit when you're like trying to stuff french fries in your face and they're like, excuse you, you're not supposed to be eating those. It's not your treat meal. Like, what are you doing? So all 4 of those is the magic to help keep you on track, keep you, get you started. Especially that accountability partner or accountability coach is really there to help you figure out and lay out what you want your goals to be, how to lay them out correctly, and how you are going to get there, and cheer you on the whole damn way. And so I hope that those 4 tips, I would love to hear in the comments what tip you absolutely love and which one you're going to start implementing next week. We'll say next week because it's a Tuesday, and I know lots of people like to start on a Monday, but instead you really should start more tomorrow on goal setting instead of a Monday, because Mondays people will always try and start it on a Monday, and then always it ends up, no, I shouldn't say that, but it most likely fails because we just have that all or nothing mindset of like, oh, I'm going to start it on Monday. So put down your health goals and start looking at those tomorrow. Start just putting those things out there and say, okay, I'm ready. I'm wanting to lose 20 pounds. I'm wanting to bring my blood pressure down a couple points, or I'm trying to, bring my cholesterol down a couple points, or whatever it is. Write those goals out, get them on sticky notes, put them out into the universe, and let's get busy. If you need help with an accountability coach, of course, I am always here. You can book a free consultation with me, and we can get to know each other and figure out what your health goals are and how to lay out, how you can get there efficiently, and maybe see how we could possibly work together. I'll put that link in the comments as well. But I hope that you had an amazing night. Thank you so much for being here with me and spending the time and learning and being interested in trying to stick to a healthy lifestyle, just in general, because that in and of itself, especially in today's food land, is very difficult. So if you have felt like you've had trouble sticking to it, you are not alone. I mean, for real, it's super hard to do. And without those magic 4 things, it feels impossible. So I hope that you implement those tips. And I love you bunches. Thanks so much for being here. And I will see you later. Bye-bye.